like to have things so I don't have to move stuff to get it. That just works better for me. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Melinda, plain and simple. Today I'm going to be giving you a little tour of the drawers in my kitchen. The reason is because I asked a while back if any of you would be interested in seeing some of the areas around my home that I feel like are working for me since I've been decluttering. And some of you did respond and you said yes, you would like to see those areas. And someone said even if it's an area that she's already seen, she would like to see. And the nice thing about that is that the areas are always evolving. So even though an area may be working for me, that doesn't mean that I haven't changed it since the last time you saw it, because, you know, I change it as I go. And, you know, I mean, you don't have to leave something the same way as it is today if you find that something else is going to work better for you. But anyway, I'm just going to do drawers today, not cabinets. And the reason is because I want to be able to not just show you my drawers, but to tell you what's working for me in them and why. And the reason for that is because for some of you, you just may want to take a peek. Maybe your drawers are already perfectly fine, but other people may still be trying to figure out how to make their drawers work for them, or maybe they might be looking for other ways that they can make their drawers work even better for them. So again, keep in mind that there are just two of us here and we don't do a lot of cooking. We do cook, but I don't do a lot of big meal cooking type things like some of you might. So just keep that in mind. You may have more utensils, you may have more pots and pans, you may not have as many drawers or cabinets as I have. You may have more than I have. And so just whatever I am sharing with you, that's my experience, and I'm just sharing it because maybe it will help you, maybe it will inspire you or motivate you or give you a new idea. And so also, if y'all have any suggestions or anything that you want to ask, maybe there's a little trouble spot you're trying to figure out, leave a comment. Sorry, leave a comment, and maybe somebody can, me or somebody else, can have a suggestion or a way to help, or maybe you'll help one of us. So for now, let's go see what my kitchen drawers are looking like right now, today, because it could change. A lot of you may have already seen my kitchen, but in case you haven't, this is what it looks like. I have lots of cabinets and lots of drawer space. Well, plenty for me anyway, especially now that I've minimized. But my old house did not have this much. So I get it if you're living in a home, a place that doesn't have as much cabinet space or drawer space. Totally get it, because I had maybe that much before. You know, like I had an upper cabinet, and I think I've had two upper cabinets. I may have just had one, and then I had the higher one over top. It was where my sink was. It was on a wall. There was a sink, and I had a cabinet here, and I had two small cabinets there, and I think we had an upper cabinet there. And then below that, there was a little water heater on that side of the sink. It had a counter space on it. And then here I think I had drawers, but I may have had a drawer and then a cabinet. But I think it was drawers and then under the sink cabinet area. That's all I had. And that was before I knew about decluttering and minimizing. And back in the old days, back when I was younger, you know, a lot of us, we thought you had to do like your mama did, and you had to have all the things, right? And so it was very difficult. I had a very small kitchen, and trying to put all that stuff in there was a challenge. Now that I have all these cabinets, I figured out about decluttering. And so that's what I want to share with you, is what my drawers look like now. If I had to move into a home that had less drawer space, I would miss all my drawers, but I could easily put my stuff into less space. And as you'll see here, this is all I have in this drawer. This is actually, this divider, this is actually the packaging. This is hard, and it is the packaging that the silverware came in. Now this is an 8-place setting service for silverware, but I only keep 4 here. I actually didn't toss the others because, you know, you might lose a fork or a knife or whatever. So I put those all in a container, and they're in another spot. So far, I haven't lost any, but I do still have them. But I just have the 4 service here because that's really all we need. And the less dishes that I have accessible to me, the more likely I am to keep up with them. And if you're not familiar with Dana K. White's stuff, I think most of you probably are, but if you're not, check out her channel, and she's got a couple of books, and she explains all of that stuff about, you know, doing your dishes first and all that. That's been around for a while, but Dana has really taken it to the next level. So yeah, I'll put a link in the description box below for her channel, so you can check her out. She's got a lot of really good tips and ideas. But one of the things, and the reason I only keep 4 instead of all 8, because I used to keep all 8, that's because of the minimal mom. She said, you don't have to keep the whole set. If you don't need the whole set, don't keep the whole set. And there's only 2 of us, so I don't really need to have 8, right? So I have 4, because sometimes you do need more than one, you know, or if you have company, you might want to have them handy. But yeah, so we keep a 4 service, or whatever you call it, for the silverware. And then back here, I have some knives, a potato peeler, my citrus peeler, that's my favorite Tupperware gadget, and a potato masher and a meat thermometer. Well, the potato masher and the potato peeler, I only use those for Thanksgiving and Christmas when I make mashed potatoes from real potatoes. My husband likes mashed potatoes, but he likes the fake kind. He likes the flakes, and he makes them himself. But for the holiday, I, you know, go all out and I make the real kind, right? But honestly, he likes them a little bit lumpy. When I made them and they weren't perfectly mashed, he liked them. So I've been thinking that rather than keeping this in here, because I don't know, it just bugs me that it's in here, I'm going to take this out and put it into quarantine. That's going to be in a place where I can get it easily if I want to use it. But if we don't use it for this year at the holidays, if I make the potatoes with a fork and we're fine with it, then I don't really have another reason to hang on to that. And the potato peeler, I don't know, I may keep that, or I may just peel them with a knife. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm going to put those in quarantine, because if I find I do need them, then they'll be there. If I find I don't, then I can let them go. But for now, this is what my drawer is looking like. So just like I just told you, you never know. It could change. But right now, this is what it's looking like. Oh, and I have my bigger knife here. I'm trying to grab it with my left hand. I'm right-handed, so that's a little bit hard. Got the camera with my right hand, but there's my big knife. And that way, I use that one a lot when I'm cutting up my cabbage, so I can make my cabbage. I like red cabbage cooked. It's yummy. I like it. I know not everybody does. So now I'm going to show you this drawer and this one. Now I didn't clean it out. This is what it looks like. You can see it's got little crumblies, and it's got those little twist tie things in there. Hubby every once in a while comes looking for a twist tie, and every time I clean out the twist ties and throw them away, he comes looking for one. So I usually leave 2 or 3 in there. I have some over in the utility drawer as well, but I leave some in here because this is the first place he would look. I would look over there, but this is the first place he would look for a twist tie. And since he lives here too, and he's the one that's going to usually look for one, I leave 2 or 3 in here, and eventually I'll toss them. And if he comes looking for one and there's not one in here, I can always go, hey, here's where some's at. So I keep some around just for him. But the thing that I like about this and what's working for me is this is a dish pan, and this is where I keep the things that have been opened. Like he's opened these cheese puffs, he's got some crackers that he's opened, and we have the bread. And this is actually the bread keeper. They called it. This is a Tupperware. But we never used it the way you're supposed to properly use it. You take your bread out, you put the lid on it with it. But I know neither one of us would ever open that up and get the bread out. So rather than declutter that thing, I just use it as my drawer divider. It's the perfect size for a loaf of bread. And when I go to clean out the drawer, I can easily just take these things out and I can wash them over at the sink. But I can also, when I do have them out of here, I can see if there's anything down in here and I can wipe out the drawer easily and it stays nice and clean. And the dish pan and this bread keeper are the perfect size, and I left the lid with it, so if I ever do declutter it, or if I need to use it for some other reason, if I do need to use it for something, I still have the lid, so it is still useful. Sorry, we're going a little in and out of focus there, but that is how that drawer works for me. It works because it's easy to maintain. It keeps things separated, but it's also easy for me to clean it whenever I need to. Now this is obviously the drawer where I have things like sandwich bags and aluminum foil and all that sort of stuff. And my parchment paper, this thing, I wanted to have everything. I like to have things so I don't have to move stuff to get it. That just works better for me. But also, as you can see, it's a little bit long. And I was trying to figure out what to do with it. And I realized it is actually, it actually is just the right length for this drawer. So, or the width here. Its length is the same as the width inside the drawer. So that works out really nicely for me. And you can see I have the longer things are in this tray, and then I have our sandwich bags and the Ziploc type are there, and then underneath we have some other types of things that we don't use a lot. So I have some things there, it's freezer paper, and underneath of this tray, because you know this is a deep drawer, so underneath here, that's where I have extra stuff. I think we got some sandwich bags. They had a sale or something. So we got a couple of extras. And so if I run out of the ones on the top, I peek down in there. When I pull out the last one of those, I make sure I add it to my list. But that's where all that stuff goes. And this, I mean, when I figured this out, I mean, that was like, yay, because I was trying my best to figure out where I was going to stick that at and still be able to access things without having to move anything. Yeah, and that's another thing that I learned from Dana K. White. I've always felt like that, but she kind of gave me permission to be okay with it. Sometimes all we need is permission to do what comes naturally to us. So now I'm going to show you some more drawers. Hang on just a second. Well, I guess I could have done that in one shot, but these are the drawers I just showed you. And sorry, I need to mop my floor, so if it looks gross, that's because I need to mop it today. But over here, I have drawers as well. And this is where I keep things like a can opener. It's always good to have the crank kind. And some scissors, because sometimes you have to use scissors when you're opening packaging. I have some of these little clippy things because sometimes you need to clip your packages, right? And then every once in a while, hubby will ask for a plastic spoon or a fork or something. So have some of those ones you get from the restaurant and you didn't use them. I kept a couple of them in there. Then I have this little funnel thing. And back here, the only thing in that one, and if I want to get this, I can easily I take one of these out and I can move it forward. But it's just a plastic knife. The reason I keep that, this one fits tight in the drawer. The reason I keep that is because when you, if you make brownies, which I don't make brownies often, but when you make brownies, they actually cut better with a plastic knife. So, and I've almost tossed my plastic knife. Occasionally, I'll just be decluttering and I almost toss it. So I keep one back there just to make sure, and I have to work to get it, so I'm not going to easily toss it. So there's method to my madness, but yeah, that's where you go. And so, and if you haven't figured out by now, if you're familiar with Cass from the Clutter Bug, she has her little Clutter Bug things. I'm a Cricket, which accounts for the dividing everything up, and also for like having nothing on my counters and all that stuff. Yeah, typical Cricket stuff. There are some things that I don't do Cricket-wise, but most stuff I'm pretty much a Cricket. Thank you, Cass, for explaining me to me. And then this drawer, I don't keep a lot in here because this drawer, there's a broken roller thing underneath of it. So these are just things that we would grab out if we really needed them. But I have my little Boyd's yesterday's child thing for happy birthday. I forgot to get her out, but I didn't have a birthday cake or anything this year. So, but anyway, I got to pull her out and go, ha ha, happy birthday to me. And then I have a little funnel and a scoop in here. I have some spoons. If we want to use a spoon for something that maybe wouldn't be food oriented, I don't know what it would be, but that. And then I have a knife. This is from our old set of silverware, and I use this knife when I clean the little whatever that stuff is, you know, that stuff that builds up on your sink when you have hard water on your faucet. Well, I use that to clean that off. I forget what it's called right now, but you know what I'm talking about. Scum or something, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, then I have a few more of the little plastic spoons and forks and some straws. I don't keep a lot, but I have a few there because every once in a while hubby will ask for it. And then a couple more things back in that drawer. As you can see, you might be able to tell, I have a couple more of those citrus pillars because, like I said, that's my favorite Tupperware tool, a little gadget. And so just in case I lose my other one, I want to be sure I have a spare, because you can't just go buy those somewhere. At least I don't know. I don't think you can. At least not Tupperware, but you can't. And so now that I don't even use, I don't know what's in it right now, but sometimes we put donuts in it. I can see it's got something on here, a little crumbly. But we put donuts in there sometimes. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing in there. I don't use it. I've tried using it, but I just go back to hand washing. I grew up, the only dishwasher we had in my house was me and my sister. So that's what I use. But this is my drawer where I keep my dish rags and my hand towels. It's right here by the sink. I have 6 that I use for dishcloths. 2 of them have been used, and they are currently in the basket to be washed. But they fit nicely in here. And then I have a couple of things that I can use for hand towel. I usually, because I hand wash my dishes, I usually just let them dry by air. But I do have a towel if I need to wash them off. I do have a towel that I can do that with, or dry them off, not wash them. If I do want to dry them off, I do have a couple of little towels down here that I can use for that. And then if I do need extra hand towels, I have those as well. But this is a little skinny drawer underneath of the sink cabinet, so you can see it doesn't hold a whole lot, or it's not very thick, right? And this is a place where I basically put things that I don't use often or that I am going to quarantine, which reminds me, that's what I wanted to do. See, I had a little space. I knew I had a little space in here left over. So I'm going to put that stuff right in there. And that way, if I want to use it for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I can. And if I decide I'm just going to go with the fork, then, and if I do use them, like if I do use this stuff, I can choose to leave it down here because I don't use it very often, or I could put it back up in my other drawer. I can make that choice at that time. Whatever works best for me, I'll know at that time. You know, maybe I don't know right now, but I'll know when I get around to it. And that's the thing you have to do. Just be flexible, be willing to try new things. I keep these things here for the sink in case I want to use those, but they're out of the way. I have some of those strainer basket things in my sink,
So I have one of these in one of the sink things, but the other one just has a strainer basket. But if I needed to plug the sink, I can grab this out. And then I have some scoops and stuff here. These are mostly Tupperware gadgets, and I can grab this stuff out if I needed it. See, I even have one of those old can and pop opener things. I have some scrubbies here. I have a oven mitt, and back there, there's some of those longer kitchen gadget type tool things. So I have all of that sort of stuff down here, but as you can see, it's pretty organized. It's pretty minimal, and I could probably let a lot of this go, honestly, because I haven't really used it. But I want to leave it down here for a little longer because some things you just really only do once or twice a year. And I may not have gotten to that point yet. For instance, I only use this at the holidays. Well, I wouldn't want to toss those and then have to go out and buy new ones at the holidays. So hopefully that makes sense. With this stuff, I may not use this stuff often, but occasionally I might pull something out. So, and I do have the space for it. If you don't have the space for it, then you might have to make your choice a little differently. But I do have the space for it, and I do have the time and the patience that I can leave it down here. And eventually, if I'm not using it, I'll look at it and go, you know what, I really don't think I need it. And then I'll just let it go at that time. But I haven't quite gotten there at this point. So for now, I'm just going to leave it. And that's what you have to do. Just make the decisions that are right for you and your home and your family. Now, I do have one more drawer that I'm going to show you. I call this my utility drawer. There's two, but this one has things like screwdrivers, and I have an extension cord, a hammer. These are just things that if we wanted something, if we need a screw in, if we need a battery, something like that, this is the drawer that we would come looking at. And I think some extra stuff has gotten put in here, so probably when I get messing around in the garage again, get a little bit more done out there, I'll probably move some of this stuff out of here. But for now, it's here, it's fine, it's handy. We can still see everything, we can get things, we can put it back easily. But yeah, that's one that I'll probably do a little cleaning on, or a little decluttering in, or whatever you call it, at some point. But this drawer, it has those little things like, if you need a safety pin, if you need a paper clip, if you need a rubber band, if you need a clippy, these things that, these adapter things, glue and tape and a pen and a pad, if you want to write something down, scissors, tape, glue. Yeah, I said that. And then this thing, I've had this for a while. When I was decluttering, I thought, this is the perfect drawer for it to go in. It's if you get one of those packages, you can cut the tape easily with that. So I put it right in here. So that's the sort of stuff that I keep in our utility drawer, and it stays very nice and neat. And as long as we don't start sticking extra stuff in it, it stays very organized. And what I did with this drawer, because it's not a very deep drawer, I used this for my dividers. I used this little basket that I've had for years. I don't even know how long I've had it. Oh, and I have a big old Sharpie back here too. But I've had that for years, and it works nicely in this drawer. And then this is the lid and the box, or the lid and the bottom for some Russell Stover's candy. And hubby got me that one year at Christmas. This thing, the reason I kept that is because it has some keys in it. And they're just keys that we don't have to use often, but we do need to keep them. And so I keep those handy right there in that drawer as well. So that, I don't know that I would call it a junk drawer. Maybe you might call it a junk drawer, but for me, I call these my utility drawers, because that's what they are. If I need something and I don't want to have to go out in the garage in the middle of the night or go down the basement looking for something, that's the stuff that's handy in these drawers. So like a screwdriver or a hammer, something like that. Or if I needed tape or something. I mean, yeah, that's weird. Something like that. You could keep that in your office drawer. But if we have this handy, both of us know if we need a hammer, if we need tape, whatever we need, we know right where to come and look for it. So that is what's in our drawers.
There's really nothing to it. If you want to, you can do it. You just take out all the extra, leave the rest. Wage a clutter revolution. It's the simplest solution. But to win, you have to learn to lose the best. Well, there you go, guys. Thanks for taking this kitchen drawer tour with me. I hope I was able to share something with you that you can use in your situation, even if you have to tweak it a little, because like I said, we're all different. And so my kitchen is going to be different than your kitchen, and yours is different from mine. But there may be some things that we can use the idea or the concept and then work it around to where it works for us individually. And that's what it's all about. It's not about being the same as me or me being the same as someone else. It's about finding what works for each of us and then doing that in our own homes. So if you have something around your house that you have that's working for you, your kitchen drawers, what are you doing that makes them work for you? Or if you have some problem areas in your kitchen drawers, maybe you have a question and you'd like to find a solution for that. Well, other people read the comments, so even if I don't have a solution, somebody else might have a solution for you. So go ahead and brag on your drawers. Go ahead and share if you got something wonderful going on, but don't be afraid to ask the question if you have something that you'd like to have a little bit of advice or input on. That's a wonderful way for us to help each other out and be a community, and that's really what it's all about. I'll tell you another thing that has helped me. I don't know if I mentioned it during any of my little segments I did, but in addition to just making it easy to find things in my drawer, what it's also done is made it so that it's easy for me to keep my kitchen cleaned because I don't have a whole lot of extra. And so even if all my dishes got dirty, it wouldn't be that hard for me to get them tidied back up and put away. Everything has a place where it goes. It's easy to find stuff. It's easy to put it away. So it's done that, but it's also made it so that I don't feel so stressed and intimidated in the kitchen, because I've said before, I'm not a cook. I can cook a little, but I'm not a cook. And cooking, I always felt inadequate at it. I always felt inadequate in my kitchen. It felt like I always had dirty dishes. I was never keeping up. It just was never what I wanted. And I wanted it to be what it is now. I wanted it to be tidied. I wanted it to be clean. I wanted it to be easy and efficient. And I just couldn't find that. I didn't know how to do that. And when I started learning about decluttering and learning that it's okay to let go of extra stuff and that I don't have to do it the way that my mom did it, I don't have to do it the way someone else does it. I can just find what works for me in my home with my husband, and that's okay. I just needed that permission. I didn't have to do it like anyone else. I just had to do it what felt natural to me. And this is what feels natural to me. I didn't know it was going to be minimal. I didn't know that it was just going to look like what it looks like with having just the bare basics. But that's what works for me. And like Dawn from the Minimal Mom says, you want to get it to where you can manage it. And Dana from Dana Kai White, she says, your clutter threshold. Well, I have discovered that I personally have a very low clutter threshold, which means I can't manage it if I don't get it down below that threshold. And so between the two of them, and also Cass from the Clutter Bug, because she explained to me about organizing, and that's how I found out I'm a cricket, but my husband's a butterfly, very opposite. So I've learned how to kind of work so that it works for both of us. So I don't make it so complicated that he can't do it, but I still get to have my dividers. So between the three of them, and there's a lot of other decluttering gurus that I have, followed over time. But between the three of them, they explained a lot of stuff. They explained me to me, and I don't do everything the same way they do. I don't do exactly how they do it. But by them explaining it to me, it gave me permission to then find out and explore what works for me. And that's what I want you to do. I don't want you to go and take someone else's stuff and do it exactly as they do it. It's okay to do that at first because you're trying to figure it out. But what I want you to do is take those things that you think are going to work for you to make things better. Even if it feels a little uncomfortable and you're not great at it at first, try it out. But over time, you start learning what works for you. Let fly. Let your wings bloom and grow, like just take off and fly. Some people need to have the constant connection and motivation and inspiration. So there's nothing wrong with watching and following people and doing what they do. But there's also some people who, once you've learned the basics, then in order for you to grow and bloom and blossom as you should, some of us have to then step back and find out what works for us without the input from anyone else. Now that's across the board. Some of us just are that way, but other people can do that while they're still learning and listening. So if you're one of those people who you need the initial thing, but you get to a point where you feel like you're not growing, it might be time to step back and give yourself time to learn on your own. Because our goal is not to slow you down. Our goal is to motivate you to be your best. And whatever your best is, only you can discover that. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. And I'll see you next time with a what's working for me with my kitchen cabinets. Let me know in the comments what's working for you. Bye. See you next time. What you doing, Pumpkin? Yeah? Are you going to declutter some stuff? Yeah.